Experience Valspar Championship picks and preview, bets and one and done. In fact, I got some bets that are guaranteed to lose, like every week. So that'll be a whole lot of fun. Last week, you took the cheat sheet. You got a spicy 2-1 Adam Hadwin top 10. Can't beat that. No outright winners because I'm terrible at those. Although Chris Paisley did hit his each way on the first round leader, so that 29-1 recouped a little bit of the devastation that was WGC Mexico, both from a financial and personal level for me. Although, Geoff Fienberg, guess what? There were winners out there.
Big ones.
Yeah, so shout out to CJ Bedford at CBed1103, viewer of the show, member of FantasyNational.com, took home $50K on DraftKings this week. It's pretty good. I want to win $50K on DraftKings. It'd be nice.
Wouldn't it?
Also, Nick at TragicDFS won 12.5K in the $4 tournament, and we always have to give a special shout out to Add-on 7X, who hit the doubles parlay of Phil Mickelson and George Coetzee at 208-1.
Wasn't the only one.
Oh, there were other people out there
with it. Yeah, there were a few with that parlay. When George won that tournament, you knew there were doubles. There were a lot of doubles. DJ doubles, Phil doubles, Sergio doubles. A lot of them popped up in my inbox. There are a couple that would have crashed the whole party for everybody.
Like if Hatton won?
Hatton probably would have been one of them. Rafa another. Probably even Sharma.
There was a lot of people out there.
I don't think he would have been dumb enough to parlay Sharma.
There were a lot of people out there with just RBC or RCB like outright cards, 66-1 anyway.
That would have been the one that might have had me like looking for the bridge, because you always comment how much I love him, how much I'm always on him. I don't know. Wasn't part of that.
Let's get in and let's recap the WGC Mexico. Obviously, Phil Mickelson won. So that means we have to give a special platform to one Phil superfan. His name, Timander Cust.
Timander Cust.
That is not my name.
Yeah, but you're the Phil superfan. You properly used the curse to your advantage yesterday by claiming that everyone was going to win besides Phil, and it finally worked. So are you finally admitting that there is a curse?
No, there's no curse. But hey, whatever works. But there's no curse.
But it did. I mean, if whatever works worked, then there is a curse. Then you're admitting it.
Listen, I was crestfallen when JT dunked it from the fairway because, listen, of the best players in the world, I like Justin Thomas the most. I think he is the most talented and best golfer on tour. But so I thought Phil was finally going to get one of these young kids, and for him to, when someone makes an eagle off the fairway, you assume that's it. That's just the type of shot a winner hits in a big tournament. And I just didn't think coming in. Phil hadn't made a birdie all week on those closing holes. Like, man, oh man, where on 16, 17, and 18 is a birdie going to come? But he made a clutch putt because he steeled his nerve and made it, and it was sent it to a playoff, and it all worked out great. But Justin Thomas really, really worried me. Not Terrell Hatton didn't scare me for a moment. He's like Tiger Woods. He's got all the entitlement of Tiger Woods and none of his talent. So he's just like the worst of all worlds. And I was glad to see that he didn't win and that he embarrassed himself on national television. But I like JT a lot despite his actions last week. And it was a shame he had to lose. But listen, it was Phil's time to win. We all knew it was coming. It was inevitable. As the sun rises in the east, Phil was going to win.
You said that Phil wasn't going to win a tournament this year.
Yeah, but that was before Phil started
playing.
That's
before he won. You said this last week.
Before we watched him rattle off top 5 after top 5.
No, this was well after that. This is what you said 1 week ago on Monday.
I can't be held for the things I say on Monday by the next Monday. I mean, look, he's in some of the best physical shape of his life.
That's not great.
He is. He's playing great golf. I mean, he's 47 years old, and he is shot for shot with these kids who are 24, 23, 26. It's really impressive. And it's something I don't think we've ever seen before for a golfer of his age to be as competitive as he is. It was a delight to see him win back on a big stage. This basically punches his ticket to the Ryder Cup on points. It was a great all-around situation, and I couldn't be happier. And now he sets up for Augusta, and if he's 18-1, there's great value at Phil at 18-1. So.
I don't feel like you quite understand the concept of value, but beyond that,
played that tournament 18 times, he'd win it more than once.
Here's the funny thing, I don't mind taking heat for Phil winning. I took my fun. It lasted 4 years. He never won. There were some really funny moments. There were a lot of double bogeys and triple bogeys at like the most inopportune times. He has really cleaned it up with the driver, and I don't think he made a double on the weekend. A lot of big players, even in the lead, made doubles and found their way back. He didn't make any. Those have been his Achilles heel. Him going back on 11 is pretty funny. I mean, maybe he'll go. Is that?
I just want to say that this final round was the best final round of any tournament this year from an entertainment perspective. And with outright tickets on Sergio and Xander going into the final day being like, well, one of these guys is going to do something and get themselves into the mix. And I think no one made like more combined bogeys than those two losers. But even to have no one in it, to watch it was a lot of fun, because there's a fun part about Phil that I don't like Phil, you don't like Phil, Tim does like Phil. People are very passionate on either side that when Phil is in it and he does have a real chance to win, it really piques my interest because I'm rooting for him to lose.
Yeah,
so I do enjoy watching it.
Yeah, no, that's also part of it, no doubt. And he had played, he showed life at Phoenix, he had showed life at Pebble, two places that he has historically had some of his better success. So it was kind of setting up. Even in the struggles, we had commented like his total birdie numbers always seemed to be doing just fine. He was just making too many big numbers that would derail him. And I don't think I tweeted it, but I said to Tim plenty in personal conversation that even before Phil won, the best part about Phil winning is like the narrative that the week, everyone who, even some non-believers in Tiger are starting to be like, oh, Tiger's looking great. Like Tim's even making jokes that he might be his one and done at the Masters. Feels like, fuck all of that. Like if there's an old guy that's back, it's me. Like that's who's back. So I like that. And the Ryder Cup on points, he's absolutely right, because he's been stashing points even though he hadn't won anything. He's a surefire bet now with the WGC, I believe, to make it on points. And I think it's just a really exciting time as a whole. For Tiger, you could debate where you think he is, but for him and Phil to be back and be like, they'll be on the poster. They're both on the poster beside all the young kids. It's really exciting. Like, I think that's awesome. I got nothing else to say other than that.
So, Tim, you said you don't like Tyrrell Hatton, because that was another guy that
I wrote that down,
that polarized a lot of people this week. Because I love Hatton. I
love Hatton. Hatton's a bulldog. I believe that there are things he does that are on the edge. There's no doubt. No, but hold on. Sometimes he might go a little farther than I want him to go. But what I will not stand for is him doing something on the green that Jordan Spieth does 5 times around.
I criticize Jordan Spieth constantly for his image.
No, so I understand there's times maybe he fires that club back into the bag and almost hits his caddy in the head. You're like, whoa, chill, boy. Like you chill the dog you love. I love Tyrrell. I'm big fan, but I draw a line when people criticize him on national television.
Well, the broadcasters were going at him.
When he does the exact same thing that a lot of elite players do, and I see Spieth do that shit on the green all the time. That's what had me fired up.
That's perfectly fair. I had to say that they should call out both sides equally. I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Spieth's always blaming the ground when he misses a putt. There's never been a struck putt that Jordan didn't miss himself.
But at least in Spieth's defense, he's actually won something.
Okay, fine.
I mean,
Tyrrell's won a lot.
Yeah, he's won 3 times in the past.
Major.
Okay, he's never won a major, Tim. There's a lot of guys that haven't won majors.
Has he even been on a Ryder Cup team? Like, was he on 2 years ago Ryder Cup team? I don't believe he was. So, like,
was he?
When he accomplishes something,
I don't think so, but he's probably there on points.
Yeah, he's a lock for this time around.
Oh, sure, he will be this. I'm just saying.
With the Phil win, I wish I remembered to look beforehand, but an updated points list was put out this morning by a lot of people.
I can effort it for you if you want.
Although he got a pretty shitty roll on 18 when it went bounce right off the club.
And there were a couple ones that went bounce. He had that eagle on the one after the par 5 that he had that great Phil had a great flop. I think he still made.
He made par. And Sharma made birdie and Hatton made eagle on 15.
No, there was a par 4 that Hatton like literally is an 18-foot eagle putt,
he hit it right
and
to
it
the
just bounced like right as he hit it. So I don't know. I saw a couple things that I'd have been angry too. I mean, sure, I don't like some of how he returns the club to the caddy.
I think he should smash his clubs. He plays golf. The way that he gets fired up during a round of golf, and Tim, you can attest to that. Who does that remind you of?
But you're not a professional golfer. If he acts like that at Augusta, he may not be invited back.
Oh, give me a break.
Get out of it. You're part of the problem.
Yeah, I mean, God forbid some of us be on Team Dignity here, and
And
I think it helps him work through it. Like, he gets all fired up. It's not like he made any bogeys during that stretch. Like, he just runs hot. It's not like Rahm, where Rahm gets all fired up and he starts making triple bogeys. Hatton doesn't. He just gets pissed off.
Yeah, he didn't like a shot into the green. It went to the bunker. He made a great sand save, and the announcers are still giving him a hard time. Yeah,
Can I read out
maybe
this,
he needs me, hype man.
No Laying Up on Twitter yesterday did a great breakdown of Phil's day and sort of like dovetails with Pat's comment about how fun it is to watch Phil in a big tournament. This was their description of Phil's day. Starts with explaining his autograph policy to fans in Spanish. Then we saw on Twitter he had a discussion about how to gamble on him in Spanish. Asked a top 20 player in the world how to pronounce his name, Hatton. Went full slugger white and consulted on a drop with his playing partner.
All class.
Hit a shot from the ivy. Hit a spectator, started yelling mucho, mucho at the fans to move them out of the way to hit his next shot. We were 13 holes in.
What about the part in the playoff where Phil paid one of his cronies to go try to step on Justin Thomas's ball?
It would have done
That
Justin a
was something.
favor.
I know.
I wish he kicked the ball.
He kicked it in the hole. Oh, sorry, Phil, you lose.
Oh,
one thing I
God.
will say,
It was a
though,
lot of
Justin
fun
Thomas-
yesterday.
It was. It was
Yeah.
a tremendous amount
Like,
of...
I was annoyed because another Sunday where 0 goes right
No,
for anything
you know
I
what
want.
went wrong for me and my main man Sergio? Holes 8, 9, and 10. Because outside of those holes, he was in that playoff too. And he was striking the ball so excellently the entire week.
Nobody
It
is
just-
hitting a more pure ball
Every time-
on the planet right now than Sergio Garcia.
You know when we talk about Cantlay, and it's like, oh, if Cantlay hits it in the bunker, it's an auto bogey. Every time that Sergio didn't hit a green in regulation, it was an auto bogey.
But there
He
also-
lost like 4 strokes around the green.
There were a couple bad 3 putts, too.
He's not the best putter.
You guys want to talk about Sharma for a moment? I mean, this is my first real exposure to him, and I'm sure most golf fans that aren't like hardcore golf fans, this may have been their first exposure to him as well. Is he just a flash in the pan, or is he somebody to seriously consider as like a major contender?
So now we're supposed to talk about India media here?
Do you want to talk about it? Because you're the one who took all the heat for it.
No, I don't even. That's all done.
I was at a wine and cheese party and checked in. You're like, people were getting mad at me. I said something I shouldn't have. I was like, what the fuck did you say?
Anyhow, that's done because whatever. Part of me regrets apologizing in the sense that
Like
I don't think it was
talking
so
about the way he was
bad.
playing yesterday, like he was hanging on.
But
It's clear he didn't have it.
I'll say this because I'm not like part of me regrets kind of stepping back because I don't even think it was that bad. I didn't even
You shouldn't have brought up the fact that there was any racial component to it. Because Tim sent it to me, and he sent it to me through text, and I had the same response as someone else in my text thread. Just like, Phil's an asshole. Like, this is how this works.
Well, I mean, it's just
He
one
does
of
it
the
to anybody.
options. It's like A, moron, B, asshole.
No, it's not. It's just Phil being an
doesn't
asshole.
care. But I don't know, man. I was in the States for a week. I was like, that cable news is like oxygen. And they throw words around. That's all. But here's the thing. For all the people criticizing me, there was one real criticism I never got as Tiger fanboy. If Tiger did it, I would have fucking loved it. Who's Tiger? Tiger doesn't even know this guy.
That's true.
No one was like, it was a bunch of, people like trolls that were trying to like bug me because maybe I could be sensitive or something. But like the real criticism was like, what if Tiger did it, you hypocrite? Because this whole Tiger Phil thing for me is I grew up in this Tiger thing
you
of
picked
like,
a side.
it had to be a team. Just like I like teams and like I hate the Oakland Raiders or something, there's a rivalry. And whether it was fake or real, the media portrayed like these are 2 teams. The Ryder Cup room was like in half, and I'm like Team Tiger. And that's it. So fuck Team Phil.
You know that Phil has won more recently than Tiger?
I heard that. Yeah, that popped up yesterday. I heard that.
And it deservedly so. I will take nothing away from the guy that lifts the trophy when I'm eating dinner on Sunday.
I'm glad you walked it back.
Yeah, sure.
But I was just curious about Sharma in general. Like, he wilted down the stretch, but he didn't completely blow up. Like, he wasn't like Dustin at Pebble Beach throwing 8s out there.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Just couldn't hold it together enough to win. Like, would he shoot 1 over par or something, 2 over par? Like, was he just playing above his head, or should we expect him to play at a high level when we see him in a couple?
I mean, we talked about Sharma on last week's show, and we didn't know if he was ready for this or not yet. And he was 200 to 1. I stared at him. I was like, you know who's a better bet? Hao Tong Lee, dead last.
Here's the thing. It's like we all had seen it, and I rode one of Adnan's Euro tips on Sharma to a nice payday. And then it comes here, it's like, this guy's good, but like...
Is he good?
Sort of like, he'll just be starstruck. Like, how are you even going to be able to play, like, looking at these guys? And man, oh man, like, it kind of just shows you. And to Tim's point, he didn't, he didn't win, but, like, he had a better Sunday than a lot of people who people put money on, or, you know, he hung around there. Yeah, he got a bit of a head start. He didn't get off to a good start on the day itself, and he didn't implode, and he hung in there. And he's 14-1 to win his National Open this week. It's kind of a scary situation.
I don't want to get into the Hero all that much because this course is such a fucking disaster.
But on that one, this is just a side note on Hero. This is where, like, Golflandia...
Yeah, Wiley jumped on the scene last year.
This is like when the raptor came out of the egg on opening night. Like, this is where it was. What is it? was like 400-1 or something?
No, Wiley gave us SSP at 80,
125?
and then someone hit the double, the had-win SSP double for like 60 grand.
Oh, that was the weekend.
But no, I thought Sharma, I think this is a really good learning experience. I don't think he got into Augusta, though.
No, he didn't.
But if he wins this week, I think it will get him in.
Why?
Because the official world golf ranking points, I think he's up to 50.
But I think there was already, wasn't there already that deadline?
No, that comes up in, because remember, there's like, if you win, I think it's after.
But I just thought, like, Barnrat skipped a tournament because, like, the deadline was the next week.
No, because Bay Hill, like, that will push you up in the world rankings, too. Oh, wait, by the way, Kiradach is in, right?
Yeah. Oh, I got it.
He's
200 to 1.
200 to 1.
Bet it, yeah.
It was just like the Perez
He
stuff.
almost was a T5 last year. It's probably too big. The thing I worry about with the
he was
Rat
like T17
is like
year. Bay Hill's a good look for him, 2 T6s.
It's just, yeah, but I always worry about him is once he like realizes he's got like 3 Bugattis or something that he doesn't care anymore.
He made his little run here on the weekend, but what did you make of it, Tim? Because when we get the WGC, we get a lot of the Euro guys over, like the top Euro guys or the top Asian players, and I have my doubts that you're up at 3 a.m. watching Euro golf, that kind of thing.
No.
Like, who impressed you from that bunch?
Of that group, I was really impressed with Sharma, the way he played. The shot he made on 18 on Saturday, which I watched, was amazing. The shot he made on the very fact that then on the first tee, with all the nerves and stress that should have been racking him, he drove the green on 1. I thought, oh my goodness, this is somebody who is not going to be bothered by nerves. Now, he 3-putted, and that was unfortunate for him, but I was really impressed by the way he played. It's hard to. I mean, I don't know how to pronounce his name. The guy you were just talking about, Appy Barnrat.
Yeah, Kiradach Appy Barnrat.
All we saw from him yesterday were the putts he made, because no one won. Unfortunately, perhaps I guess for golf fans, no one's interested in watching him hit a shot that isn't a putt because Phil and Justin Thomas are playing. So I mean, it's hard for me to gauge what I saw from him on Sunday, or just about anybody else, because we just didn't see them, and you're never going to when the top golfers are at the top.
He's made for Augusta. He wears.
I was delighted.
His Sunday kit is the green shirt, which is the matching putter handle.
I was delighted to see Jordan Spieth hit a ball out of the water, because it's just like a pre-visioning of him hitting the ball into the 12th hole in the water in a month or so. So it was nice to see him getting his reps.
Okay.
By the way, Spieth tied for 10th.
Great.
Hold on a second.
He's not playing well and continues to turn out good results. Like, he's terrifying coming into Augusta.
Because I don't want to like let any cat out of the bag. We kind of like discussed behind the scenes the potential of doing a golf only Cust Corners because of some peak events that have happened recently. And Tim told me a take that if it happened on air, I might have fallen out my chair. And I don't know whether to just leave that as a teaser.
I don't even know what it is.
I don't know. I told him do not take a step further, but do not take a step further with that. I can't discuss it anymore. That's how okay. It's more absurd than his Jordan Spieth will never win at the Masters again. That's how crazy this take is.
Is it personally offensive to anyone?
No.
Then what is it?
You say it, Tim.
I think that the very fact that there's an internet live stream of Amen Corner during the Masters is deplorable. It should be done away with. I also despise the whole featured group following online during the Masters. It's the Masters. You get what PBS shows you, and that's all you get. Just because you're a privileged little snowflake that has to live your life on the internet and on screens, you think you're entitled to see every shot at Augusta. Well, you are not. You are invited to their course. If you really respect the Masters and you respect Augusta, if you really love the course and the tournament, part of that love and respect is that you play by their rules and you don't try to change them for your own benefit, which is why I have a great respect for is that you can't see the course from above in a blimp. You shouldn't be seeing internet live shots. You should see what you see. And that's my opinion on it. I think that they're trying to commercialize the Masters. Sorry, not commercialize. They're trying to make it more ubiquitous on television in a way it does not need. It does not need your sponsorship. It does not need your eyeballs. It doesn't care about you. And that has always been true, and that will always be true. You either love it for the traditional sort of throwback in time that it is, or you don't. But the idea that, why can't I see every shot at Augusta? You never, ever, ever, ever will. And you just have to accept that fact.
But now he's crossed two borders because the every shot thing which is its own fair argument, is 100%, as ridiculous as that is, that's separate from your take on Amen Corn, like that specific thing.
Strangely, over the past few years, the Masters has been the best about showing us everyone's shots. They have a live stream going from opening tee. You can watch almost everybody. That's what makes the Masters broadcast so good.
No, it's not like the British Open where you actually get to see every shot on
ESPN's on air.
ESPN's on air, but if you go to masters.org, they have 5 separate live streams going on. They have 2 featured groups.
And Amen Corner.
They have Amen Corner, they have 14 and 15, and they have one other one floating around too. It's excellent. They have done the best because they own all the rights to it. That's why.
Yeah.
So they're making the big bucks off of it.
I have a lot to takes about shot trace and about the half-hour break between Golf Channel and CBS, which I like. I have all.
How? Just one sentence. How?
I like the fact that it gives me 30 minutes to go get a coffee or have a smoke or have a shower, do something with my life and get ready for the next 5 hours of golf I'm about to consume, and I've just consumed a bunch of golf. It is it's a break that I'm being given by the golfing world. You know what? Take off the rust for a few minutes, go have a coffee, go have a shower, relax, and then come back and watch the golf. Because again, I don't need to be plugged in 24/7 to what's going on. So no, that little half-hour break is a godsend as far as I'm concerned, and I say God bless it.
That take is so outrageous. It got a Jesus Christ from behind the camera from Paul.
And I don't think they used the shot tracer at the Masters yet. At least I don't remember seeing it. And I mean, hopefully they never do, because that's a terrible thing.
All right, well that's a good way to get you out of here. So congratulations to you. Congratulations on using the Ander curse on Phil. I will say, whenever I'm betting against Justin Thomas, he makes that putt 100% of the time. Where was it yesterday, JT? The one time I ever root for you to make a fucking
17.
make a fucking putt? Nope, can't do it.
Okay, but he only got there because he had a miraculous shot off.
Well, the only reason that he won at Honda the week before is because he put it off the fucking rocks and bounced to 5 feet instead of going in the water.
I didn't even know that happened because I was there I would have just fallen over. And I would say this, you got better to be lucky than good. He is supreme talent. There's no doubt. Even when the best friend was winning tournaments, I said to me, he's the better golfer. Because of something like maybe with me and the other one. But there were 3 or 4 incidents yesterday where I couldn't believe how lucky he was getting. And this was even after Sergio was dead, unless he wanted to birdie out or something.
Did you see Ricky hanging out with him in the trailer after the round? It looked like he was going to hype him up.
Yeah, Ricky's a hype man now. He's not winning, so he's just hyping everyone else.
Yeah, well, the greatest tradition in golf. Ricky at his friend's party the night they win a tournament.
All right, Tim, before we let you out of here, give us your pick so we know who's Andercursed for the Valspar Championship.
As much as I wanted to take Hadwin this week, and I think he's a really good pick, I'm going to take DeChambeau. I think he's going to win, and so why not take him?
Canada says thanks.
Yeah, the nation of Canada applauds you. It's really, really nice of you to do so. DeChambeau, the most Andercursed person at the Valspar Championship. I'll let you out of here. Thanks again to Tim Cust.
Not my name. Go, Phil. You're the best ever. Goodbye.
All right.
It's a shame I didn't ask him his thoughts on all the name changes the Valspars had.
Yeah, well, maybe we can get through that at a different time. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with a full preview of the Valspar Championship, so stay tuned. Welcome back to the Pat Mayo Experience. Let's get into the Valspar Championship. We're at the Innisbrook Resort, aka Copperhead, home of the Snake Pit. My favorite course on tour. Non-major division. I love this tournament so much.
Other than hitting Hadwin at 100-1 last year, which was pretty sweet.
What do you mean other than?
Well, like, I don't know, like, are there other reasons?
Yeah, I find this tournament is fun every single season. Like, we got that fun Jordan Spieth, Patrick Reed on the verge of their breakout year. We had...
It's a very Honda-esque field where you have those, like, a few top Americans, but all those Euros that are really here to gear up for Augusta and their PGA Tour seasons.
I just enjoy how hard this course is. And it played like the easiest it's ever played last season. It was still 17th of 50th in terms of difficulty on tour. It's tough. There's 5 par 3s on the course and 4 par 5s. It's a par 71. It's over 7,300 yards. But it's the same reason, like, probably after Valspar, probably 1A and 1B, like, I really like the heritage as well. And maybe it's one of the reasons that I like WGC Mexico so much. There's something to me about, like, when you step on the tee and all you can see on either side of you are trees.
Yeah.
That I really like that. I feel like it adds, because I know, like, the courses I grew up playing are all exactly like that. I'm like, oh God, I'm going to be in the trees and I'm fucked.
And I would say the course that I do play, it's a very, like, old-timey tree-lined golf course where the tee boxes are kind of on top of one another as well. Unlike, you know, nowadays these modern courses are built on huge properties, but you said it. I mean, driving accuracy, precision off the tee.
Precision off the tee, because driving accuracy I always find is a misleading thing, because it depends on what tournament you look at. Like, let's say you looked at Honda 2 weeks ago. Well, I mean, Luke List was hitting every fairway. Now, generally speaking, Luke List doesn't hit every fairway. Why? Because he usually brings out a driver, hits it into the rough, and it's not that big of a deal because he can just play it from the rough closer to the hole. You can't do that here. There's going to be a lot of clubbing down. I always talk about, like, Gary Woodland as being the guy who clubs down. He's won here before.
He's like the American, like, Stenson in terms of not nearly as good, but, like, he takes that 3-wood out and he doesn't miss a beat.
But we've seen Tony Finau do the same thing. He was T5 here last year, and that's how he did it. He just took less than driver off the tee. Graham Dillette is another one who's had a lot of success here. So ball striking is very important. Par 3 scoring for one of the few times this year will be factored in. I mean, that's one of the reasons I ended up on Hadwin last year, is because he's so good at scoring on par 3s. Dillette, too, was another one for ages, just always scored on par 3s and always played really well at this tournament. I think fairways gained is something to look at. I wouldn't say completely throw it away like it's strokes gained putting, but I think it can be misleading here unless you use comp courses to do it. The one correlation that we've seen over the past 2 years, and we'll see if it happens again this time around, Career Builder. Career Builder points to winners here. Like Bill Haas has had a lot of crossover success, obviously Hadwin. The Boz last season ended up doing it. So we'll see if the Career Builder leaderboard can factor in. That's why I kind of like Johnny a little bit this week. He's playing really well under the radar, and he hits almost every fairway going. So that's really what I'm looking for. And with the 4, even though there's 5 par 3s, there still are 4 par 5s. So you're going to need to make up your strokes there, because every par 4 on this course last year played over par.
Yeah. And I would say every time we come, I call it a plotter's paradise, Valspar, for the most part, especially when we look at the guys that have won this tournament in the last handful of years. Hadwin, Spieth, Charles, even before that.
John Senden won, and then Streelman won the year before
Luke
that.
Donald.
Yeah, Luke Donald.
It was a win here as I was venturing into this golf wagering world. So very... Yeah, just guys that keep it in the fairway and get on these greens.
Yes, put it in the fairway, hit a green in regulation, and hope to make some putts. Just don't, and it's not like Honda where you're going to look at the scorecard and like, oh, he made a 9. Oh, he has an 11 on his scorecard. There's not a lot of that here. There's just a lot of bogeys. And guys will make like 5 bogeys in a row because the course is super hard. Yeah. Like, you need to have a relevant short game here to get yourself up and down. And there's enough water, there's enough sand, or if you hit it in the trees and you have to play it out sideways, that it's just one of those courses where it'll just get to you over time. But you can make birdies. We've seen that in the past. Like, we hit Herminator, first round leader here last year. He was like 9 under. And then, he ended up coming T3 because he never improved after that. Almost like Tony Finau does every week now, where he's basically first round leader every week, and that's basically what his score ends up being for the entire week. So let's get into the top end, because this is the best field that they have had at Valspar in a very, very long time. Spieth, former champion here, is 8.5 to 1. Rory's playing this event for the first time, 14 to 1. Serge, 3 weeks in a row, he's 18. Stenson, for the first time in America this year, is 18. Rose is back, he's 18. Paul Casey is 28 to 1. Finau's 28 to 1. And your main man, Tiger Woods, 30 to 1 on this course. What do you make of that top end? Because I really want to ride with Sergio just because he's been doing it for me. But I feel like Rose kind of got himself together in the final round a little bit. Long term, like when I ran my long-term model from fantasynational.com, he rates out really well, as does Paul Casey. And the Paul Casey number is the most interesting because I bet it last week at 30 to 1 in a much stronger field. Now it's 28, and I'm like, what the hell did I bet Paul Casey? I do it like twice a year, and every time I ask myself, like, what the fuck am I doing?
It is an interesting one because I would say this. If you did bet him last week and I got suckered into that, it's hard to look at it and not think it's worth another shot on a course that definitely fits his game significantly more than last week in a field that is weaker than last week's. But in that range, I don't know. I really can't see myself having any part of those first two names. Not that Spieth doesn't scare me. You know that something's going to pop there. Like he's going to release a Kraken. And, I mean, his best friend's just winning every week, too. So he's probably like, I got to pick this thing up.
He'll just wait for Augusta.
Yeah.
And
I got to pick this up on myself.
Juiced up parlays for me.
Rory, there'll be opportunities here, but I don't know. He hasn't played here before for a reason.
I'm waiting for the week that Rory wins one of these tournaments by like 14 strokes, but until then, like I'm not touching him.
Sergio, no one is striking the ball more pure than him right now. I'm worried he's going to pop before the Masters. We know that Baby's going to pop before the Masters, but his iron play has just been outstanding. He couldn't putt for anything last week. That Baby's going to come before Augusta. I am very, very excited. Just to flash forward with Sergio, you almost worried when he goes to the Masters. Like his give a shit level meter will be lower than ever. Between the new Baby being there and the Champions Dinner and being past champion. But, that Sergio Stenson Rose of these like elite players, I feel might be maybe worth a look. You mentioned how well Rose has been playing consistent. Stenson, I mean, Valspar is the course that fits his game to a T.
And he didn't go to Mexico this year, so he's not going to be dealing with diarrhea problems this time.
Am I worried about just... Like, when's the last time he even put a tee? He was overseas around Christmas, I believe we saw him.
He played in the Middle
events.
East. So, he's played, I'll check on it right now.
Yeah, I believe he was in Qatar and in those fields. But Sergio or Stenson are the, guys under 20 to 1 that really have my eye for a piece of my money.
So, Stenson's played 3 times this year. He played in Abu Dhabi and came 8th. He played in Dubai the next week and came T6. Then he went to the Mayo Championship as probably got paid like $3 million to go and came T60. So
it's more than I thought.
He's playing. Yeah. He's playing all right. And this is the course where you mentioned it. He's going to hit 3-wood off every tee. He's going to hit it down the middle of the fairway, and then he's going to Stenson it.
Yeah.
And he's never won here before, but he has some pretty good finishes. Even last year, when we all kind of ragged on him because he was sick from being in Mexico and he complained about it, he still played well with this course.
Always. Fits him perfectly.
So when you talk about him in that kind of upper echelon, I just worry about Rose. Like, Rose didn't play well last week, and he got it together a little bit in the final round, but he just rode so many bogey trains. Like, he was making birdies. It's the bogeys that just came out of nowhere. You were like, what are you doing, man? But you have a really good short game. What's going on here?
A lot of guys were making bogeys last week. I mean, in total birdies I feel like John Rahm made so many
he made some big numbers.
Huge.
Because he's trying to hit driver off the tee and hits it in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
And not everyone can be Phil from the Ivy and just get it out and make par.
Rose, I wouldn't be shocked at all if he won, but I would still rather play Sergio. I feel like that win is just... It's simmering.
Well, you make a lot of sense when it comes to Sergio. So you look back at Honda 2 weeks ago, and this is one of the reasons that I was on him in Mexico last week, that he finished, despite like a T30 finish, he was top 5 in the field in terms of strokes gained approach. He just couldn't putt. He lost 3 strokes on the green. Last week, he finished top 6 in strokes gained approach, and he ended up inside the top 10, and he actually putted well last week. The guy couldn't chip to save his life. It was unbelievable how many strokes he lost around the greens. And I worry that, and generally speaking, Sergio's not a bad short game player, like around the greens. I mean, it's very difficult to win at Augusta if you don't have a decent short game, because that is probably the hardest place to do it. But Mexico is incredibly difficult as it turns out, to get up and down like the.
Unless it was going in the hole.
Unless it was going in the hole, yeah, but like.
Because we saw a lot of those too.
But you saw a lot of like flubbed chips from the Kikuya, like it just got buried in it, and the guys hit it 2 feet. Xander was just like. Whoa.
And the greens were so like were big and long that even when you were like on the green in 2 and scoreable holes, you weren't getting it closer to like 8 feet for your birdie.
No. And so you had to make a lot of those mid-range putts. I think Sergio is my favorite of this top end as well, and I would probably give him the edge over Stenson.
Because he's been playing.
Just solely because he's played the last 2 weeks, and he looks like you mentioned, the ball striking is dialed in. And if the ball striking can be dialed in, Sergio's the threat to win anytime he tees it up.
Love it.
So I'll be in on Sergio. I think I've only bet 4 people so far, and they've been way down the card because I want to make up my mind. So Wednesday, Facebook.com/thepme. I'll release my cheat sheet and see where I end up at the top. But
yeah, I'll do my best because there's the middle ground and we're gonna get to it, that I called Plotter's Paradise.
So do you have any love for Finau, T5 here last year? I don't love the number, but I said the exact same thing about Phil last week. If Phil was at 30-1, I would have bet him last week. And I looked at the 18-1, I was like, well, the guy never wins, no thanks. And now I feel like an idiot again. Been saying that a lot this year. Guys that I feel like priced out on me, like it happened with Jason Day. Didn't end up on Jason Day at Farmers despite liking him. It was like, well, this sucks.
Last year there was a run of that around this time of year when like Chappell and Henley won like 2 straight weeks, and it was like 30, 28, 33, like these guys. But like if you think he's gonna win, like I don't know, you can't ignore like 7 points shouldn't drive you away.
No, and Finau's short game has been really good recently too.
But he also kept missing a lot of those 5-foot putts this week.
Of course he did. He's going to miss those every week.
But he's not bad on par 3s, and he can make butter on the par 5s, except if it's that hole at Genesis.
Yes. That's the easiest hole on tour. Can't birdie that one for the win, basically.
Oh, God.
So you're not touching...
I'm not. I got to think about that, because Finau winning would be the one that would send me to the bridge if I didn't
Yeah,
pick
but
him.
are you really going to be sweating? I mean, you're always going to sweat missing a winner when it's someone that you're actively
like 28-1 isn't like...
Like he was 66-1 at Genesis, and I feel like that is a course that's set up a lot better for him than this does, despite the fact that he has a top 5 here.
I agree. When you even told me what he did here last year, that kind of threw me off, and that because he does have a perception of being a certain type of player. Yeah. And that, what you mentioned of what he did last year, I mean, he's clearly more well-rounded than even me, a fan of his, was giving him credit for. So that's what's kind of pulling me back.
You just can't putt.
And I mentioned all those guys that have won here. They're killer putters, man.
Yeah, that's
killer
true.
putters. Like when Luke, all those guys we ran through, when they're in that like heater zone. I mean, Charles like inconsistent, but when he gets his like Keimer streak going and he hits everything.
Well, Charles is interesting. We'll get to Charles in a bit because he's only played here twice in the past. He has a win and a top 6 the last 2 years. And he is not doing anything right now. So he's an interesting one for me. Maybe he just has an eye for this course. Let's talk Tiger. Tiger is 30-1 this week, coming off an impressive performance for Tiger from a health standpoint, a performance standpoint. Lost to Mr. Burns in the final round, but was he T10 in Honda? It's not bad. And this sets up where he doesn't need to take driver out off every tee, and maybe he can improve his driving accuracy a little bit, because if he drives the ball like he did at Genesis here, he's going to be 400 over par after 2 days.
Before I get fully into Tiger for this week, every time someone like north of 40 wins, and when it happened when Tiger was away, big tournaments, I believe it inspired Tiger. When Zach won that Open Championship, when Tiger like just wasn't existing.
When Davis Love III randomly won the Wyndham Championship.
Which made me believe anyone could win at any time anymore still. To me, those give Tiger like extra supreme, like they notch up that confidence arrow. Like if you're in a video game and you can alter your guys' like numbers. A couple of those go up. I truly believe that. I didn't think Honda really suited what he could do, and he played very well considering the situation.
He got bear trapped at Honda.
And this is kind of the same situation. I think we'll see a lot of good. I think we'll also see a lot of bad from Tiger this week. But that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, he's setting himself up. I mean, he's making his run to the Augusta. That's why he's playing this week to get himself reps. But next week is going to be a true test, because like we've seen with Phil, where he goes back to these courses where he plays well, and he continues to play well, that helps him moving forward. With Tiger, I mean, there's no more dominant streak than Tiger at Bay Hill.
Yes. So you're right. That is the litmus test for Tiger next week.
So no Tiger for me this week.
Oh, this is a complete. Everything he's doing this week is about something in the future. Everything, every walk, every step, everything is about something beyond the Valspar. I can't. I'm not biting there.
Okay.
I love it. It's great for the tournament, and it's great for everybody. Hopefully, again, I want to cut. Or even maybe a miscut wouldn't even be the worst thing, because you saw how well he rebounded off the miscut into Honda. Takes just to play the 2 rounds and then go to his comfort zone in Orlando. Oh, we'll see. But no, unbettable. I wish I had an 80 for the Masters.
Yeah, I don't. We'll get to our Masters.
Not that I think it means anything.
We'll talk about some of the things that we're on for the Masters at the end of the show. Because there's some, so we might as well start talking about it now, stuff that we're already in on. So by the time Masters comes around, that number's not out there. And we'll be like, no, we got it. We said when we got it. We've been putting it on Twitter, and we might as well say it on the show. Rest of the field. Defending champion, Adam Hadwin, is 35-1. I kind of want to bet him.
I am really staring this thing down. And I'll say this. When he went to the career builders this year, I didn't think he was playing well. I went on national radio in Canada and thought he was a fade. Like, I just thought his game was off. And that week he kind of gave me that, like, oh, he could be a horse for course kind of guy. Like, he really just went back to a place he played well at, and he played very well again. This 35 on 365 is the highest I've seen it. I've seen it, I think, on Bodog at like 28 or even 25.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if Bodog and Bovada have the same lines, where Bodog is a Canadian version of that site and Bovada is not. I think Bodog just, it's like when we see like 40-1 Graham Dillette numbers. I think they just screw over Canadians.
Sure.
Because Canadians like betting on Canadians.
Yeah, maybe. But the way and the strong finish going back to this place, and the championship disrespected him in a tweet last week.
They talked about, was it Cantlay?
No. They talked about, like 1 week until we have a new champion. And it showed a picture of Hadwin and Spieth and Charles holding up the trophy. And Hadwin was like, what do you mean new like, that was a joke. Like, yeah, he can win again.
Yeah.
Essentially saying, I can win again. There might not be a new champion. It might be the same old champion. This course is Hadwin. This is where he popped for us at 100-1 last year.
Hit some fairways, get it on the green, make some putts. And if you're in trouble, have a capable short game to get at it.
Yeah, and I guess it's worth noting, because we made the mistake, or I definitely hyped the mistake of just talking about Cantlay and being back here for a couple weeks.
He's not here.
He's not here. I get when you're a made man and you make those WGC monies, you can call your own number, and he's done with it. He probably would have been in that Casey Road
25
range?
25.
Yeah.
I would bet.
And that's who Hadwin beat in that playoff here a year ago.
Was it a playoff? Because I thought he just beat him on the 18th hole.
I think it was a playoff.
No, I think it just went down to 18 and Cantlay dunked
Could
it
be
in the
right.
sand and couldn't
Had
get
a
up and down.
playoff field then. It wasn't from the sand that ended it. Cantlay couldn't convert.
So, in terms of Hadwin, what he's done so far this year. So dating back to, he played the Tournament of Champions and took time off the Career Builder. 3rd at Career Builder, 6th at Genesis, 9th last week at WGC Mexico. Led the field in strokes gained approach last week. And he made probably what was the best putt of the weekend, where he had the Happy Gilmore put it up the hill and have it come back down and go in the cup. That was amazing. This strikes me, I mean, you talked about when Henley won and when Chappell won. And those were 2 guys that we really liked, and we looked at it and we're like, nah, not enough value on that. I don't want to make that mistake this time around. We've already seen Brendan Steele repeat this year, and we've seen players play really well at tracks where they've experienced a lot of success in the past. I think I'm okay with Adam Hadwin. I think he's
35-1 is better than I thought we were going to get when he peaked yesterday.
Yes.
I mean, like, watching that, because you're watching that, we all, like, people sort of in our bubble, people watching the show are trying to do what we do. Like, you remember who won last year. Like, you see the guy peaking the Sunday, walking into the event he's the defending champ at. I'm pretty excited about this number. Maybe it's the Canadian flag that adds a bit of a tingle for me, but I won't deny that. But I'm pretty excited that I found a 35, because I didn't think I'd get one.
So from the next part of the odds, you go from like 35-1 to 60-1, and we got Adam Scott, Benny Ann, both at 35, Woodland, Moore, both at 40. Webb, Fitzpatrick, Kevin Na at 45. Then you got Shez, Grace at 55. Then like Cam Smith, Ross Fisher, and Kevin Streelman. This is where the first part of my card, what I've actually done so far, starts to emerge. I hit Brendan Grace at 55 to 1. I hit Cam Smith at 60 to 1. And I hit Ross Fisher at 60 to 1 as well. Let Ross Fisher at WGC Mexico. It's one place where you can club down and you can put it in the fairway. He did lead the field in fairways gained last week and lost over 5 strokes putting. Ross Fisher, not the greatest putter on tour, but I do think that this is a course where he can get himself around. And when you think about quality of player in the world in terms of world ranking and where his overall ability rests, I think that he's better than the number he's being given right now. And I feel that same way about Brendan Grace. I don't love where Brendan Grace is at, but he won at Heritage, another tree line course on Bermuda where it's going to be tough. You're going to have to get yourself up and down. And his short game has been really good. The irons were off on Brendan Grace last week. But those two guys I like for the odds that we're getting them at right now.
And what about Cameron?
I'm in on Cameron too.
But I feel like Cameron seems to also fit this course as well.
I mean, those two other guys have accomplished more than Cameron Smith has. I was lumping those two in for like world golf rankings as opposed to the odds. With Cameron Smith, I just like where he's at.
Yeah.
And when we talk about short game,
guy
has one of the best short games on tour.
Sticks it to a pin from pretty much anywhere within like 60 feet of the green.
Yes. So I'm in. And
So
he played really well last time we saw him.
If Cameron Smith isn't missing his like 5 to 7 footers, he's in for a fantastic week. I agree with that. Grace, the course.
He has not fared well at Valspar in the past, yet always plays well at Heritage. It's really strange. You think those two things would go together.
Well, this is also, for me, a Brendan Grace course. I'm on Cameron Smith for the bet. Grace is the one sniping around in the head because this is a layout that works for him. I sometimes like to think about winning score, and the Valspar winning score is the Brendan Grace winning score. At least how I perceive him to be. Yeah. Not make a lot of bogeys. He plots around, make under par day. Hey, he's capable of having that really low round, like when he gets going.
At tough places,
love his work for me. A little lower on that. Kevin Na's playing outstanding. I'm not betting him, but I'm just pointing out
listen, I'll give you props on that. The one guy who I don't want to miss out on right now is Webb. Webb fits this course perfectly, and he's 45 to 1. And he's been so close. So close. And he's putting well. I don't know if the putting's going to last forever, but right now he's putting well. And if he's not losing 20 strokes on the green, the guy can win.
I say this, Webb is my nemesis, and I joke about it a lot. And with those jokes, I say the only way I could ever bet him is if Pat really talked me into it. I'll say beside him, well, I want to go. So Kevin Na's he's a model popper for sure.
Kevin Na, yes.
Yeah. And even at Pebble, I saw signs of life, and then he almost won. Well,
he was there at Genesis.
Was right there at Genesis. I just, Can you imagine betting Paul Casey and Kevin Na?
you see if you can parlay them with top 10 finishes or something.
No. This week for me, though, it's a litmus test week for Matthew Fitzpatrick.
Okay.
This is
coming off losing to Daniel Berger last week.
Yeah, sure. This is a course that, to me, suits his game perfectly. He's a player I really like. I'm contemplating betting him. If he doesn't play well this week, I'll be quite concerned about where he's going to go from here this season.
He'll play well at Augusta. That course has his eye. He understands how to get the ball up and down at Augusta. We've seen that over the course of the past 2 years now. The Masters is a course where he is going to play well. And I'm all for that. I just don't know how he plays elsewhere. Honestly, every time we've seen him in America outside of Augusta, he's just not very good.
And then, one of those first names you called on, any love for Gary Woodland?
No, not really. He got his win. We expect him. I know we could have said the same thing about Kazire when he won again at Sony. You really think that Gary Woodland's going to be he was garbage last week too. He was in Mexico.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
No, the only thing that Woodland makes me think, if I would have more likely seen him winning this event than I would have seen him winning Phoenix.
I agree.
So
but he did win Phoenix.
He did.
So for me, Grace, Smith, and Fisher. The other guy who's at 60 that is a former champion of this event and just tee to green, hits every fairway, gets it on the green, and we know he is not a good putter, but he can be a very streaky putter from time to time. He has like JB Holmes syndrome, where for like a 9-hole stretch, he might make 8 birdies in a row because he's giving himself a birdie opportunity every single time. Streelman's played really well this year. He hasn't missed a cut yet, and he does have the past history of winning at this event. He won it 10 under in 2013 when I believe it was like the Tampa Bay Open when they didn't have a sponsor. But he's just sneakily been playing really well all season long. I don't love the number. I think it's a bit too high. I think it's inflated. But I do like Kevin Streelman this week. What do you think?
I can't throw any. He is, like I said, plotter's paradise. Like almost every single one of those guys, from Grace to Fisher, he is king plotter almost. Kevin Streelman.
Because Chez is around there too. I said Chez was 55. He has never putted well at this event, but skill set. When you think about, hey, fairways, good irons. I mean, he was terrible around the greens the last 2 weeks, but before that, he had been excellent. Is his run just over? Because we thought Harman's run was over, and then all of a sudden he's at the top of the leaderboard in Mexico.
I'm such a dud. I would just like to think I could find a sexier name
Than Chez Reavie?
or no than Streelman. But Chez.
But if we talk about plotters, this is a plotter's course where like Brendan Grace can potentially win. Isn't Streelman sort of like the low-rent American Brendan Grace?
Like I said, he's like king plotter. I don't know. Wouldn't you not like maybe rather have Louis? Is that his dumb
No,
comment?
I don't want to take Louis. Louis pulled the ultimate Louis on me the last 2 weeks. One, he kills my first round leader bets because he's unstoppable for one round. What did he finish last week?
Probably horrible. But
Not well. I'm just not betting Louis to win America. I'm just not doing it. Maybe I'll bet him to win the Masters. Because he just plays well there every year. But like, no, I can't do it with Louis. He's Heartbreak City every single week. Like there are guys at 100 to 1 I would prefer to go after.
Whoa.
Like, are you in on Ollie at 70? Because I'm off. I'm off the Ollie train here.
I don't think I'm off. Because this is like in the preview show where I think Florida swing suits him best. This is the event that my mind went to.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. Like, do you think that Ollie has a better chance of winning than Duffner? Duffner's never missed the cut at this event, I believe. At least he's 5 of his last 5. Duffner's at 60. Just hanging there.
I would rather bet Ollie.
Okay. Brandt Snedeker at 70, who I am betting, just because I said I would continue. I didn't bet him at Honda because not a good fit. This place seems like a far better fit for Brandt. And he's got, 2 events left to get himself into the Masters? So I'm in. I'm in on Brandt.
Listen.
It's an auto bet.
You have just stepped into Plotter's world and you picked like 5 of them. That's what you got to do here. I mean it. Unless you're going to, don't want to throw stones at any of them. If you think Zach Johnson's going to keep the ball in play, what?
Well, the other one like that is the 2 that we just glossed over at the very top were Adam Scott and Ryan Moore.
I didn't mean to gloss over Scott. Moore I intentionally gloss over because, I don't know, my eyes don't care for him. Scott, even through some ugliness, is playing well, and now it's like, could he hold it together? And I feel like I saw some even bigger numbers earlier, but it's strong. I'm not going to bet Adam Scott this week, but you're seeing a bit of life. You're also seeing the really bad Adam Scott too. But I always believe this: when you see life, kind of like with a Bubba, kind of like with a Phil, it could just be one range session that clicks the bat away.
Yeah.
With these types of players at this level.
Would you throw Kuchar into that mix too? Because
absolutely,
if Kuchar
but he is not even he's getting scolded for the money he's bringing home probably.
Well, David James called him dust, he's finished. And DJ has been pretty good with this stuff. He
did see he's not going to stop being your top 10.
Yeah,
Kuchar.
but he's 60 to 1. If you had told me he was going to be if you had told me in January that Kuchar would be 60 to 1 at this event, I would be like, how much money you want to take from me? And now I don't know. Am I letting recency bias play too much into this for me?
Wow. I don't mind that one bit.
It's a big number for a guy who's going to hit. I mean, I don't even know if he's going to hit every fairway anymore. Maybe he's finished. But you talk about a guy who's a good putter, who's good around the greens, hits all the fairways. Isn't that Matt Kuchar? Maybe 60 to 1?
I like that more than Streelman. Just because
I haven't
Let's say
bet, I
think Kuchar
haven't,
can
I
win,
haven't
but
bet
Kuchar
Streelman
doesn't.
yet. Should I just go to Kuchar instead?
I don't want to talk you off anything.
Like,
I'm just talking for myself
I'm just
out
asking
loud.
you, was that a sucker number for Matt Kuchar?
No. The problem is, before anything really good can happen, you probably need to see life. So, like, is he going to go from no life to win?
I mean, he rarely wins as it is. As someone who's been on Kuchar a bunch in the past 3 years, the guy never really wins. But hey, Phil won. Maybe it's Kuchar's time.
I don't mind it one bit.
I'll make a decision on that later in the week. Some of the other guys I had circled down here. Patrick Reed, 70-1. Can't hit a fairway to save his fucking
I
life.
said bet 365 as a 70. Other shops are showing 50s. Has he done anything?
No, he is not.
He lost in a playoff here 2 years ago to
Spieth.
Jordan Spieth. This is almost just, I might just have to take it because I like him too much.
I can't do it. Like, I just don't see anything from him at all.
At all. It's actually been really bad, and I'm like, keep an eye. Even when I'm not even like betting him anymore because I don't even believe. But this field, this number, I don't know. He's been horrible.
Yeah,
He's not even doing what he does well anymore.
Well, he can't hit a fairway. It's incredible. No matter where he plays, just in the woods. It's not a good starting spot.
70.
70. He lost 5 strokes putting last week. And before that, he'd been losing 4 strokes with his irons. Like, he just... Not only can he not get all 4 facets of his game on the same page, just one part of his game every single week is just disaster. And it's a different part every single time. So maybe you can say, hey, he's been doing enough over a series of events that you've seen life in his driver, or seen life in his putting, or his short game's
No,
always
he's not even doing what he does well.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything.
So, no for me on Patrick Reed here. Other guys I wanted to give a special shout out to, and I think this might be a range where I just kind of sprinkle around. Are we done with Chesson Hadley after one bad event where he did not lose strokes through his irons? He just lost them all around the greens.
You're going to dump Chesson because the one bad event in
Where
which
he was
Ander-cursed? I think that might be a little unfair to Chesson, pulling the 100.
Over the past 24 rounds, still number 1 in this field in strokes gained approach.
I think I think for a bomb at the 90, 100s that I've seen, I think that's something worth throwing.
Career at Valspar, T14, T44, T69 the last 3 years.
Steady progression. And
Well, no, it's going the other way.
Oh, shucks! I thought I could swag off a 14th place last year, and the belief that he's just a different, even like guy.
Well, it's funny that you kind of say that because I went through it. I was doing my research last night, and I found Hadwin, Cantlay, Herman, Finau, and whoever the hell the guy was, the Boz, Dominic Bozzelli, who came fourth.
Fake Rafa.
Fake Rafa, sure. But all 5 of those players had either missed the cut or not played in Valspar the year before. So,
Interesting.
and that could just be the biggest outlier of all outliers, but I thought that was somewhat interesting. So I'm giving him some consideration. Bud Cauley and Johnny
I know you're.
Johnny hasn't missed a cut yet this year. He might just be a top 20 bet for me, but I kind of like Johnny Keegan at 111. It seems like a really deep number for Keegan because we usually get him at like 60, 70. Stanley killed it with his irons last week in Mexico. Are we seeing a resurgence of Stanley?
I could get in on Stanley. What number?
Stanley's 100.
That is worth playing for.
And the other guy in my short-term and medium-range model
Chris Kirk?
is Chris Kirk at 111. Guy kills par 3s. And again, like Chris Kirk, we know...
He played well. Didn't he just... He may have fallen back. I swear he was leaderboarding through California a bit.
He was for Mr. First-round leader. Hit him at Sony, tied with Zach for first-round leader. His last, so far this season, he's been 10th miscut, 35th, 11th miscut, 33rd at Honda.
In this range, and Bryson won 110. I know he was
Very Ander-cursed.
very Ander-cursed.
So no
this
for me.
week. Is done.
Pass for me.
Okay. But for someone that didn't believe in curses, does the game work here?
I think so. I
Because he seems like a guy that could score well on the par 3s and do what needed to be
He
done.
can't putt, by the way, on any surface. He's just a bad putter.
Well, maybe that's his science.
Maybe. But putting is always one of those things that can flip on itself, too, and maybe all of a sudden he just has a great putting week. But his game has been kind of shaky. Like at Genesis, it was really good. He just lost 4 strokes putting, and he came T41. He was 5th in Phoenix and just had a really good week overall. I get it. I think, and this course makes a lot of sense for him. Like we saw him, remember when he first came onto the scene, he played really well at Heritage. I just think he plays better at harder courses, and this is a pretty hard course. So I understand the logic behind Bryson, but he's Andrew Kerr, so I'm not playing him.
Okay. Polter?
Nah.
All right, not for me.
People will be on the Boz this week, I think.
Yeah. I don't know, Sam Saunders the week before Bay Hill, because, where he'll be the story.
He's $7,000 on DraftKings, so I'd probably just go there.
Really deep, though. A couple of Koreans.
Well, I'm in on Siwoo at 200. And here's the best part about Siwoo. Back on Bermuda, where he won the Players' Championship. And when Siwoo is playing well, he's crushing it off the tee, sticking his wedges, good short game, gets the putter rolling, and he has the most amazing Siwoo Kim form ever. At this, his course history is very Siwoo Kimmy. What do you think he's done at this course, his 2 starts?
Miscut, 3rd place.
Miscut, withdraw.
Oh, I thought...
No, that's the ultimate Siwoo line. I'm in every week. Just put it in. But Sangmoon Bae at 200-1 was interesting. He's lost in a playoff here before. We were all kind of in on him at Riviera. Oh, he's really checking out. He's going to play really well. And then he didn't play well. But I don't think that's a reason to give up on a guy who's 200-1. Maybe he's a first-round leader bet. I don't know. But I think he's an interesting name. Did you have anyone else from down here?
No.
Patrick Rogers rated out really well for me. I'm not going to do it, but he's a name.
I know you're done with Uline.
Uline's in this event?
Yeah. Florida boy.
Good God.
Maybe he didn't play well last week either, I don't think.
Well, yeah, because he hasn't been playing well. I would think that Bay Hill is a better track for him than here. Wouldn't you?
Charlie Hoffman 80-1? I know.
Oh, I didn't even see Charlie.
Because there's sheets in Vegas that got him for 30 at the Masters right now, but you could pull
they're hedging against him leading after the first round.
But you could pull him at 80 to win the Valspar if you wanted.
Hoffman's interesting, actually. I didn't even realize he was in the field. Let's see what he's been doing.
I know, now I'm just naming names. I hit Steve Stricker at plus 225 to win the Champions Tour event.
He was plus 225, so he's the Tiger Woods of the Champions Tour now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Move over Bernhard Langer at Steve Stricker time.
He's here this week. Off a win. Also, Russell Knox, for this type of course, he's just in Plotter's paradise. Yeah. But he doesn't get my money. I don't think.
No, he won't hear from me either, but I think he's someone like Kokrak's another interesting one. He's overvalued at 66, but he's someone that almost like the Gary Woodland type, take the driver out of his hands, he can still hit it.
There would have been a time where you'd have given a nut to get Jim Furyk at 150-1 here.
He's won here before too.
Yeah.
But yes, no, Jim's not playing the best. He had the most Jim Furyk round ever. I think it was the first round of the Honda. He was like 72, and he parred every hole except for the 2 par 5s in which he bogeyed.
Good for him.
That is the ultimate Jim Furyk round. Charlie, 35th, 26th, 41st, 20th this year. It's very Charlie-esque. And now we're getting to Texas, where it's Charlie time all the time.
It's just a big nut,
That is a big number, isn't it?
Strange.
I mean, I'm talking to myself into Chesson Hadley at 90 and Johnny Hunt at 100. I mean, Charlie's a better bet at 80. He just is. He's a better player. I'm going to write his name down. I'm probably going to be in on Charlie now that you've mentioned that. Charlie, Stanley, Kirk. I wish Austin Cook would. He kind of peaked a little bit too early, but theoretically this course sets up really well for him, I think, because his short game is so good. He's 110. I might just not even touch the top of the card this week. Roll the dice. I got to do something different. I'm not hitting winners, so either bet like 2 guys at the top and hope one of them wins, or just sprinkle 7 guys down the card. What do you think?
I got nothing at the top. My earliest bet right now is Hadwin at the 35.
I think that's probably where I'll
That's
start
the
as well.
shortest number on my card at the moment, but I'm telling you, I'm staring at Surge, and you talking to me about Fino's game here last year just reeks of something I've missed in the past. By that I mean a number. I don't want to not. If he was 35, I would do it. So at 28, I don't want to cause trouble. Okay. But I'm not there yet.
All right, let's get to the picks then. Just overall. So guys that I'm officially in on as of this moment: Grace, Cam Smith, Ross Fisher, and C. Woo! Kim at 200. The other guys that I'm considering, I'm with you in that Sergio Love. I probably won't go that high, but I want to give Hadwin a longer look. I want to give Webb a longer look. Streelman, Hoffman, and Snedeker. And then those guys in that 100 to 1 area, like Chris Kirk, Kyle Stanley, John Huh, Bud Cauley. Start giving them deeper dive. See how I feel on Wednesday rather than Monday afternoon.
Yeah, for me, so I start the card with Hadwin, and I have Cameron Smith and Ollie Schneider-Jans. So those are the bets I've made, but I'm going to dump into that like 50 to 66, 70 range of all those plotters and try to pick a couple more. Even shorter than that, guys like Matthew Fitzpatrick really has my attention.
He had your attention last week, too.
He sucks. Yeah. He sucks. Well, he sucked last week.
Yeah, I don't think he sucks in general. He just did not play
I
well
just think
week.
this is like an ultimate setup for him, and that was silly last week. I didn't want to miss it. Like, I knew I was going to play him this week, and it was his first start since Qatar last week. And you got to be cognizant of those first starts, even when you like the guy. They seem really like burning money, don't they?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, we see.
Wasn't Noren's first start this year though? It was not the Tory playoff, or was he in before?
No, it was the Tory playoff. Like it's what you remember.
That's for
Honestly,
damn. I'm smart enough to know that. That my perception would be god awful.
One and done picks of the week. I won last week with Sergio over Fleetwood, so I get first pick, and I'll take Adam Hadwin.
Sergio.
You're taking Sergio?
Yeah.
Serge. I'll be very upset when he wins this week and I'm not on him.
So should everybody with their Masters tickets.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what we've got for the Masters so far. So on my Masters card so far, this season, I have Spieth on 2 separate ones with double parlays. I had the Eagles against the Falcons and the over or whatever it was. I have those 2 with Spieth at 8 to 1, and then I have add-on gave me like a Michigan State. It was like the
bowl season.
The bowl season double parlay with Spieth. So I have him up to 30 to 1 on both. So I'm done with my Spieth betting. I'm in on him, but I don't think I bet him at 8 to 1. That's why I played these tickets to see if I could juice him up a bit. So I'm in on Spieth. Going into the final round at the Genesis, Bodog had a 50 to 1 number on Bubba, so I took it. So I have Bubba at 50 to 1, and this weekend, as I tweeted out, a lot of people were tweeting it out, and I just didn't want to miss out on the action, but I ended up taking Pat Perez 150 to 1, and people are like, he's not going to win the Masters? It's like, yeah, I don't think he's going to win the Masters either, but he's 150 to 1, and on other books, he's like 70 to 1, and I just need him to be in it.
I would defend the Perez bet as, to me, he should be in that Kisner, like Harmon range. No disrespect to those guys. The Georgia guys could definitely pop at the Masters, but to me, Perez is way too similar in skill set and ceiling for those guys to be bringing home half a number.
What do you make of Hadwin? Because Hadwin was his debutant.
I know. Remember, they changed the wedding. Or something.
But he went there. He made the cut, but he didn't.
He impressed us all. We just thought he was even in Canada. We're like, he's there just to be there. Not actually, but he played well.
He did play well, but doesn't he seem like the sort of player that could play really well at Augusta? I know he doesn't have the length to really dominate the par 5s, but he has that short game and he has that putting that can just go boop, like that all of a sudden.
I haven't thought about it. For me, as we condoned, in the holiday shows, those parlays, I got a ton of Ricky and Dustin parlays. Not feeling so hot about the Ricky stuff.
Well, it's just like I have Rory 50 to 1 to win the U.S. Open on parlays.
Yeah, but you got more time.
I do. I got time for him to round into 4.
And he's won major championships, Pat. Ricky
was dealing with the Ander curse last week, so that can't happen to him again this year.
I know.
So that's good news.
I know. I love Ricky. I believe in everything he's going to be capable of. I believe he's capable of. So him and like NFL parlays, bowl season parlays, doing it all up. For people that want to get in on that, don't want to be forced into like a Wednesday night basketball. Like someone mentioned to me, they can't wait to get parlaying again for March Madness. I don't know if that's a game you're going to bet anyway.
It's not for me. Like I just
I
don't, unless I can find someone who's really good at college football to tail or college basketball. I don't know.
No, I'm not speaking for myself.
Yeah.
Just so that, and on that note also, Bodog has stopped allowing Masters parlays. I don't know if I should take responsibility for that, or even just slightest. Farther down the card, Fleetwood, 80-1.
Number no longer available.
No longer
But you gave that out on the preview show.
available. Sergio, 50.
That's still there.
Some places. Even the places the prominent places dropped it a little. I saw it at 40. Norin, I was able to pick up in Vegas, not by myself personally, this past weekend at 80-1. And then people were messaging me, that's an old sheet. It's fake.
Is it?
No! I wouldn't have said it's in the ledger if it wasn't a real bet. 80-1.
And
Feels strong.
a lot like Hadwin, he got his debutant out of the way last year.
And I'm excited. I believe he's capable of enormous things. So that's one I'm really excited about. And I definitely have like a Hatton as well at 80 or 125. I think the kid's got it. I could be off, but I don't know. I like his fire. He impresses me.
I like him too. I don't think he's going to win the Masters.
Be sneaky Masters, but I'm not even kidding. It's probably big. Ross Fisher.
He just can't putt. I mean, I just bet him this week at Valspar. But I think he's like the same odds for the Masters as he is this week. I'll give him a shot here. Test out the waters with Ross Fisher. See how it ends up going. And you talk about Appy Barner at 200-1.
There's pulling 200s. He almost had a T5 last year.
Well, he was T17. He had one.
There was a melt.
He had one really bad round. But a lot of people had one really bad round last year. John Rahm had a really bad round. Ricky Fowler had a really bad round.
Happened to be Sunday.
Yes, same with Jordan Spieth. Really bad round. But that'll do it.
And
Any more Masters stuff?
What did Phil drop to? 8-1?
Now Phil is down to 18-1. But according to Tim, it's great value. So who knows?
It's amazing. I'm so excited. Phil and Tiger just like to be there and be a storyline. Whether you believe Tiger can win or not, I don't know what level spectrum
if we're talking about TV, why not just pair them together for the first two rounds at any event that they play together? I know they probably don't like each other and don't want to do it, but like, you want to sell PGA Live memberships? There's your featured group.
If Tim had it your way, no one would watch. No one would be able to watch it.
And we'd only be able to follow golf in the newspaper the next day. Or on the radio. But not online radio, on ham radio. Anyway, that'll do it for the Valspar Championship Picks and Preview. I want to thank Geoff Fienberg for being here at GFienberg17. On Twitter, you can follow me at ThePME. Remember, if you're curious about researching golf stats or just making your own stats and putting them in a model and generating your own sleepers and own picks, go to fantasynational.com right now and become a member. My full picks cheat sheet will be up on my Facebook page, facebook.com/thepme on Wednesday, first round leader bets, which is really the only thing I should be betting at this point. It's the only thing I can win on. And on DK Playbook, my DraftKings cheat sheet and my full preview, which is actually up right now, are up on there. So thank you for watching. I'm Pat Mayo. Good luck at the Valspar Championship. I'll see you next time.